Hello, everyone. Importing fresh produce, fruits and vegetables, into Vietnam can look attractive. There is real market demand, and for certain varieties and origins, foreign exporters can supply products that are not available locally. But fresh produce is also one of the most demanding categories in terms of compliance, logistics, freshness, seasonality, quarantine, and risk. In today's lesson, I'll walk you through what you need to carefully consider, and when entering this segment makes sense or doesn't. When importing fresh fruits and vegetables into Vietnam, phytosanitary rules are extremely strict. You must have a phytosanitary certificate from the exporting country that confirms the produce is pest-free and meets Vietnam's plant health standards. Without this certificate, shipments may be rejected, delayed, or even destroyed. When the produce arrives in Vietnam, it may be subject to inspection and quarantine by plant health, customs, and food safety authorities. They may sample, inspect, or even require fumigation before release, especially for high-risk products. Some fruits and vegetables face seasonal or origin-based restrictions, depending on pest outbreaks or plant health risks in the exporting country. Your import dossier must include the commercial invoice, packing list, bill of lading or airway bill, phytosanitary certificate, certificate of origin if needed, detailed species and variety information, packaging details, harvest date, and storage or transport conditions. Fresh produce import always carries compliance risk. If documentation is incomplete or inspection finds pests, residue, or spoilage, the entire consignment can be rejected, returned, or destroyed. This means that exporting fresh produce to Vietnam requires rigorous adherence to plant health regulations, perfect documentation, and a high tolerance for risk. Only exporters with strong supply chains and excellent quality control should consider entering this category. Fresh fruits and vegetables are highly perishable, and maintaining freshness from the farm to the Vietnamese market is challenging. You will need reliable cold chain logistics, temperature-controlled transport, and storage. Otherwise, your product may degrade or fail inspection. Shelf life is short, and any delay during harvest, packing, shipping, customs clearance, or distribution reduces freshness and increases spoilage risk. Packaging must be suitable for transport in Vietnam's hot, humid climate to prevent damage, heat exposure, or moisture issues. Logistics costs for fresh produce are high, and the risk of loss is significant. Authorities may also request traceability documents such as harvest date, origin, and pesticide practices, which require strong quality control systems. In short, fresh produce export to Vietnam is resource-intensive and suitable only for exporters with reliable cold chain capability, fast logistics, and high-quality standards. Now, let's look at market demand. Imported fruits and vegetables do have demand in Vietnam, especially in major cities such as Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Da Nang. Urban and higher-income consumers often look for imported, exotic, or off-season produce. Modern retail chains, supermarkets, high-end grocery stores, and expatriate communities are the main buyers. However, competition is strong because Vietnam has its own agriculture with many local fruits and vegetables. To compete, imported produce must offer higher quality, better safety, or unique varieties. There are real risks: spoilage, inspection failure, high logistics cost, or low profit margin, especially when customs delays occur. Seasonal fluctuations in both countries also make supply planning difficult. This means imported fresh produce can succeed, but mostly in premium and niche segments, not in mass market staples. Based on my consulting experience, exporting fresh produce to Vietnam makes sense when you have reliable supply, strong traceability, and consistent cold chain capability. It also makes sense if you target premium markets, supermarkets, gourmet stores, and urban high-income consumers. Exporting specialized produce, organic items, exotic fruits, or off-season varieties gives you an advantage. But you must be willing to accept higher logistics cost, higher risk, and the need for stronger quality control. A knowledgeable local importer is essential to help navigate customs, quarantine, and distribution. If you plan to export fresh produce to Vietnam, here is what you should do. First, ensure your produce meets phytosanitary standards and obtain a valid plant health certificate. Second, prepare a complete documentation dossier with invoice, packing list, airway bill or bill of lading, phytosanitary certificate, origin certificate, species information, harvest date, and packaging details. Third, use cold chain transport and storage from farm to packing through shipping, port clearance, and inland distribution. Fourth, design packaging that protects the produce from heat, humidity, and damage. Fifth, plan fast delivery and distribution to maximize shelf life. Sixth, partner with an experienced local importer or distributor. Seventh, target premium customers, not price-sensitive mass market. Eighth, be prepared for higher cost, lower volume, and higher risk. Ninth, monitor regulatory changes and plant health alerts that could affect imports. And finally, test with a small shipment before scaling up. In some cases, exporting fresh produce to Vietnam simply does not make sense. If your supply chain or cold chain is weak, the risk of spoilage or rejection is too high. If you aim for mass market segments, margins are too low to cover logistics and compliance costs. If the produce is already grown widely in Vietnam, competition will be strong. If your product is seasonal or supply is inconsistent, the risk increases. And if you cannot guarantee full documentation or traceability, even one missing certificate can block entry. In the next lesson, Lesson 15, we'll explore food additives, ingredients, and processed ingredient imports, including sweeteners, flavorings, preservatives, baking ingredients, and more. These products follow a different regulatory regime, but they are in strong demand among Vietnamese food manufacturers. That concludes today's lesson on importing fresh fruits and vegetables into Vietnam. There is opportunity, but only under strict conditions and with careful planning. If you decide to enter this segment, treat fresh produce as a premium product, not mass market, and manage logistics and compliance with great care. See you in the next class.